What is going on? It's Alex coming back at you with another video, and today we're going to be breaking down a very requested mock, the mock of Chris Trapasso's 2025 NFL mock draft. It's pretty obvious there's a certain pick at number 22 that has been getting a lot of attention, so I want to be able to go review it because you guys keep asking me for it. So if you are new, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Below my face is my board. It's always changing, but it's completely honest, and it's not predictive. So it's just saying the guys who I love the most. And I'm not saying they should go at that spot, but I'm just saying that's where I value them. So let's get into this. Let's have a great time. If you do want to support the show, again, feel free to use the code HAILMARY when you do sign up for UnderDog. You put $10 down, as little as that, and they end up sending me $60. So that way you guys can also have some extra skin in the game, but do it legally, do it responsibly. Let's get into this. And at the end, actually, I'm going to be attaching an interview with a draft prospect that I love to death. Spoiler alert. He's going to be a top 10 receiver on my board, and his name is Andrew Armstrong. So feel free to go check that out at the end. Super excited for that as well. And it was a really good conversation, so I hope you guys do tune in. At number 1 overall, we get Abdul Carter to the Titans. I think it's a good move. Not going to... Ooh, we see a trade here. I'm not going to bitch about it. It's a good move. It's a good move. But... the Giants make a small move up to select Cam Ward. I don't know if necessarily the Browns would execute this trade, but, at the end of the day, it is what it is. They'll probably end up getting like a third or second round pick out of the deal. Fine with me, and good for New York because I love the fit for Cam Ward there. At number 3, again, via trade down, you get Travis Hunter and an extra pick. If your goal is not to acquire a quarterback in this draft, that's fine. I'm not going to complain about that at all. So it makes a lot of sense there at number 3 to go best player available. And Travis Hunter, for most people, is that. Now, Will Campbell goes at number 4. Again, this is a pretty cut dry, top 4. And we're going to get to pick 5 in a second. But this is a live mock draft live reaction, by the way. So, I did not know that was coming. But I only know pick number 22. But Will Campbell, I'm just against it. He's going to probably go in the top 15, but... if arm length does come in sub 33, he does have issues. And so I'm not necessarily going to put my name on the line for him. He's a fun player. He's someone who I have a lot of love for, but, I think that, people have a little bit too much confidence in him to take him as a top 5 player. Nicky Manwari goes at number 5. Oof. Low value position, which, again, I'm usually one, especially when it comes to the tight end position, to say, I don't care too much if you get the best player. And Nick Manwari has the potential to be a top 5 player in this class. 6'3", 230, great ball skills, top end speed is ridiculous. He's built in a lab. But, safety is a position where you can end up bringing on guys through the free agency market or low value trade. And just going to be honest, it's a lot less exclusive than the tight end market that I was talking about. So it's pretty clear that I don't agree with this pick. Even though I love Nicky Manwari to death, I would definitely not execute that trade. Shedeur Sanders goes at number 6 to the Raiders. If he ends up slipping to the spot, I will not blame him at all. Tom Brady, part of the ownership group. Apparently he's been working with Shedeur since high school. Makes sense. So there you go, Tom Brady and co. Then we got Mason Graham slipping to the Jets at 7. They do definitely need some defensive interior help. It's going to be, defensive-minded organization as well. I'm going to be a fan of this one if he ends up slipping that far. James Pierce goes at number 8 overall to the Panthers. And by the way, if you're a fan of the Panthers and up, so Panthers, Jets, etc., all the way up to the Titans, I already have 7-round mock drafts out for your team, and I'll be dropping 1 to 2 a day. Today, I'm going to try to get one out a little bit later, but, probably will have to wait for tomorrow for the Saints because today got a little busy, but that's okay. And we're going to enjoy it regardless. But James Pierce is really damn good player. There's been some talks about his maturity, coachability, and that's why some people think he's going to be dropping. He ended up having, I think, an arrest for some type of traffic incident, and he ended up apparently not showing up to team meetings. Going to be honest, there's another player that I've talked about before that has much greater allegations against him that is not being criticized, but James Pierce is. It's an interesting situation, but if he falls, then whatever team is actually smart enough to pick him up is going to look like a genius. But pick number 9, you got Tyler Warren going to the Saints. Don't really think this is going to be because they were going to miss out on Brock Bowers. I think it's because Kellen Moore is the new head coach and he loves his tight ends. Ursary goes at pick 10. Pretty ballsy. He can end up playing guard in the short run too. I have a lot of faith that Ursry might have that role for the short term and then tackle for the long. So, I mean, it is what it is. Ursry is a great player. I'm not going to criticize the Chicago Bears for going after him. Of course, I don't think he's worth the number 10 pick, but I mean, if he ends up having a great combine, I could see him being maybe a top 20 pick, but top 10 is a little bit of a stretch based on the tape that we saw. Mike Green goes at pick 11. Apparently, like, the information that I've been talking about has been picking up some steam online. And again, I want to mention this for Mike Green. Like, what I have heard is nothing that I have any sort of information about myself. Like, I'm just going to be honest. There are people who I very much trust, and their information lines up with the history of Mike Green going to UVA and being released from UVA. I will just say that I trust them, and I pray to God that they're wrong. And I pray to God, like, really strongly that they're wrong. But there's just nothing about him being released from UVA out there, and it's because it's supposed to protect an individual. And usually when there's something that needs to be and to make someone anonymous because of something that's been done that released some player from a school, it's not good. And it lines up with everything. So you can do your own research out there, but Mike Green goes at pick 11. I do think he ends up falling in this draft for that reason. Again, people are going to try to talk about James Pierce. Like, it's very similar to Siobhan Revelle and not Darian Porter and Ben Morrison. Like, Siobhan Revelle ends up getting hurt and is out pretty much the entire year. He gets no drop in his stock, essentially. But all of a sudden, Ben Morrison does, and he's like a third-round pick. Like, so I think that similarly, Mike Green and James Pierce Jr. are having like off-the-field concerns, but it's being unfairly applied to one player over the other. But if Mike Green checks out, then, I mean, the Niners, I could totally see Robert Saleh absolutely loving a player like Mike Green. Genty goes at pick 12. All but gold. That's all I got to say. All but gold. Great player. Pick number 13, you got Kelvin Banks to the Dolphins. I don't think Greer's going to take a guard in the first. I know Banks is a tackle, but you're essentially then going to give up on Austin Jackson. I don't know if Kelvin Banks remotely fits the profile of tackle as well that you guys have drafted. So I'm a little bit confused because talking about taking over the left tackle spot for Terron Armstead is pretty much neglecting what happened last year in the second round, Patrick Paul. I did not like Patrick Paul myself, but I think it's disingenuous to say that the organization's already given up on their second round pick, who is coming into the league raw. Will Johnson slips to pick 14. It looks like everybody's just on this trend now, but I mean, hell, whatever team gets to take him here in the top 15 ends up getting themselves an absolute superstar. Jalen Walker goes at pick 15. Amazing linebacker that I think has some edge capability. I don't understand people who end up saying they don't like him as a linebacker, because I think that is arguably one of his best traits. And so I think it's his best position as well. But regardless, he's a player that is not someone that you talk about as a tweener because he can't play either position, edge and linebacker, but he can actually do both very well. Kenneth Grant goes at pick 16. I've heard a lot of steam picking up. Like, some people even have Kenneth Grant in their top 5. Not going to go there myself, but at the same time, Kenneth Grant has a great motor. He's a freak athlete. If you end up hitting on him, you do get Dexter Lawrence, so it's very possible. Walter Nolan goes at pick 17 to the Bengals. I think that Walter Nolan's a good player. I think that Walter Nolan would be an asset to the Bengals. However, I think that even though they've been looking at defensive line at the Senior Bowl, I would say they're probably going to spend like a later day 2 pick on defensive interior or day 3. Because McKinley Jackson as well as Chris Jenkins Jr. might not be the best starting duo in the NFL, but I don't know if Walter Nolan, pound for pound, with the amount of issues you have and with the talent on the board, is the best return on investment, especially in a pretty solid defensive interior class. Get yourself a Jamari Caldwell in the 4th round. Like, I think that's just going to be such a smarter decision. And even though this is not a bad decision at all, I'm just saying what I'd rather do. Landon Jackson goes at pick 18 to the Seahawks. It doesn't make sense to me. If you use your eyes, Landon Jackson makes some fun splash plays, but you need to look at a consistency basis. And consistently, Landon Jackson overcomplicates the game. He is not 6'7", 280. He's just 6'5", and he's like 270. So he's just a normal build, but so he's not an enormous specimen. Again, I don't trust CBS guys to do their research in the first place, apart from Mike Renner, because God only knows how CBS landed that, but it is what it is, man. But regardless, Landon Jackson, going this high just doesn't make any sense. The production isn't there. Like, the splash plays are, but who cares when there's other players who have those splash plays and consistency at the same time? Just a bad pick, in my opinion, at 18. Tetairoa McMillan slips to 19, second time in a row now, mock draft-wise, that we've seen it. DJ 2.0 ended up having Tetairoa slip this far, but, I mean, if somehow, some way he does slip, makes a lot of sense. Colson Loveland goes at pick number 20 to the Broncos. You know, there's their joker. You know, I don't blame him at all if they go this route. He's a solid player. Darius Alexander going to the Steelers just doesn't make very much sense given the spot where we're at. I love Darius Alexander to death, but at the same time, he's going to be 25 starting out his number one rookie year. And we're in a position where we need young developmental prospects. Darius Alexander is a great player, but for the state of our team, we're not trying to defend a Super Bowl. Like, if the Eagles somehow do it or if the Chiefs somehow do it, it wouldn't overwhelmingly surprise me. But Darius Alexander, talent-wise, is probably a top 40 player in this class, even with the age concerns. And, you know, it would be an honor to have him on the team, but when you're looking at what we should be doing, and yes, I do see number 22, it just doesn't really add up. And no disrespect to Baishul Tootin. Like, I really like his game as like an early day 3 guy. And I've seen all of his fans essentially be saying, this guy's an early day 3 guy, and he's fun. I've seen somebody say like RB2, but we all know that's not remotely close to, remotely close to reality / consensus. And to be fair, you look at my board and you see Jack Besh and Amarian Hampton, Braden Swinson. I get it. But I also don't get paid well, I guess I do get paid to do mock drafts, but I'm not going to do it and then end up taking these guys that high because I think it's a disrespect to your guys' time and your guys' energy. And here we are spending our time and energy talking about Baishul Tootin in a negative light when reality, he's a good player. He is nowhere near a number 22 overall prospect. Not a chance. So, yeah, not a fan of that at all. I mean, this is obviously the clickbait pick, so it is what it is, but you know, whatever. Speaking of, we were talking about double standards earlier. Siobhan Revell here. Everybody talks about how amazing he is. I will admit, I'm not saying that he's bad. I'm just saying the lack of evidence out there to be able to support your decision is insane. The majority of clips that you will see are from a game that happened week 1, 2023. I'm just going to put that out there. He hasn't played, he played 2.5 games this year, and all of the hype that he got was from will be 2 years before he takes a snap in the NFL. That's it. So just keep that in mind. Again, I like him as like a day 2 guy, but it's just, man, I mean, when people try to shit on Ben Morrison for his hip injury, it's like, all right, well, are we going to talk about the ACL and the fact that there's not really a lot of evidence? It's very intriguing. Donovan Jackson goes at pick 24 for the Vikings. Honestly, if they sit there, it's going to be Hampton or Jackson that I think would be the best return on investment. Emeka Egbuka makes a lot of sense. You pair him back up with CJ Stroud. That receiving core needs help. I'm not going to complain. Josh Farmer pairs up with his Florida State buddies. That's going to be kind of cute, but there's no reason for the Rams to spend a first-round pick on defensive interior. There's just none. So maybe if this is the 3rd or 4th round and the Rams see him there and they're just like, why the hell not? Sure. But this just doesn't make any sense. And I love Josh Farmer. Got to meet his brothers, like chill dudes. I have nothing against him. But again, we're at that similar state where we're talking about Baishul Tootin in a very similar light. We like the player, but it's a different thing when you're talking about him as a legit first. And Josh Farmer is more realistically a first than Baishul Tootin by a million miles, right? Like Josh Farmer is considered that day 2 guarantee at this moment based on his physicality and his overall build with 35-inch arms. But for the Rams, it just doesn't make sense. Josh Simmons goes at pick number 27 to the Ravens, doing what they do best, which is just snipe the players who slip to them. That should not. Simmons is far better than this. This would have to be negative feedback from the medicals. Then Shamar Stewart goes at pick number 28 to the Lions. I mean, sure. You have a great mentor there in Aiden Hutchinson. It's kind of insane to see how those two would be able to go yin and yang with each other. However, I think that, you have the upside there. Michael Williams would be far better, but it is what it is. Michael slips to number 29, which won't happen in the draft, but a lot of these picks won't. And pretty much none of these picks won't, I should say. But still, the logic behind a lot of these just don't make sense. It is what it is. But Michael Williams slipping to 29, he would not come out if that was the actual buzz. I mean, this is a player who is a lock top 20 to 20, like a lock top 20. Like, let's be real here. But Michael, when healthy, ridiculously talented and actually far more productive than what people are led on to believe. Princely Umamielen does not belong in the first round. Again, this kind of feels like something that it's like half of the mock draft was placed, like must have been made back in like September, because like I love Princely, got to take a picture with the guy, so that's kind of hype. But at the same time, he didn't even look as good as Jared Ivey, and I'm not a big Jared Ivey guy. You guys know that. Princely Umamielen does not stick out as a first round player, and I highly doubt the Bills would end up looking at him, his frame, and his production, and end up saying, well, this translates to the NFL as a first round pick. I just can't see it. Jahad Campbell goes to the Chiefs at 31. That'd be a kick in the balls to the Philadelphia Eagles because that's the best pick for them. But, you know, they do need to go after some linebacker help. It's a sneaky need. It's absolutely a sneaky need. And Jahad Campbell's a ridiculous talent. And honestly, as much as I've shit on this mock draft, I kind of like this pick right here. It's cool to see a new fit like that. And then Nick Scorton goes at pick 32. You know, you'd essentially have to use him as a BG. So that's why I would have a little bit of a concern. You look at Josh Sweat to Jalix Hunt, measurables at the combines, respectively. They're identical, so it's clear that that was the vision there. So you're replacing BG now. And Nick Scorton, I wouldn't necessarily put in that realm because I'd want him as a pure edge. And I know you guys have nickel front. So you have odd front, but you also have nickel packages where you have an even front. Nick Scorton could absolutely be an asset there, but I also think at the same time, that's what Jalix Hunt's future is supposed to be. So that's going to be my thoughts there. Honestly, there were some egregious picks, of course. I have no expectation for CBS outside of Mike Renner at this point, but, you know, I've seen worse. I've seen a 7-round mock draft that I spent over an hour on that literally had players in the top 100 that returned to school. So, you know, there's that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. I love it. Feel free to go check out the interview that's coming after this as well. And hope you guys enjoy. Welcome into the interview portion. I have Andrew Armstrong, NFL draft prospect, former wide receiver of Arkansas. I'm actually wearing the colors of it, but I'm actually wearing my alma mater, SMU. So, you know, it's okay. It's okay. We ain't rivals, but, you know, guys, show some respect. Guys, show some ACC love and SEC love at the same time. Andrew, say hello to the people and let them know who you are.
Hey, how you doing? You know, it's Andrew Armstrong, wide receiver at the University of Arkansas. I'm from Dallas, Texas, so I'm not too bad with you wearing the SMU colors. You know, SMU
Okay.
as long as you know it's not in the camera, so we got just the red. We good.
Yeah, we good. We good. I had to show some love, but also show some representation.
That's
Yeah, we're gonna be having just a quick little chat here, being able to get to know one of my favorite wide receivers and allow you to understand him as well. So super excited for this. Again, thank you for coming on. But starting out, I know that there's been a lot of these all-star circuits like the Shrine Bowl, the Senior Bowl, the Hula, etc. I know that there's been some tumultuous stuff going on in recent memory. And so was that the primary reason why you didn't go to these bowls? Because I think you're ridiculously talented. I'm very surprised if they didn't invite you to those.
Yeah, I didn't get an invite to those.
That's some bullshit. There's no way. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest.
I didn't. I mean, I can't control. I couldn't control, like, you know, the invite thing.
Right.
So all I can do is just, if I didn't get invited, put my head down and go train and work. Like, of course, if I got an invite, you know, I love competition. I love going against the best of the best. So if I would have got an invite, I definitely would have been there. But, you know, it didn't work out like that. God didn't want me to have no invites. So, hey, all I can do is control what I can control, go work out, go, you know, get a jump start on my training, and that's what I did.
There you go. I mean, it honestly bewilders me. This past season, 1,140 yards. You got one touchdown. Like, okay, who really cares? You ended up doing so well against top-tier teams, SEC, high-level teams. I mean, like, I'll just read this off right now. Versus Tennessee, and this is the primary clips I've been posting on X. You went up against probably next year's top cornerback in 2026, a legitimate top 10 potential player in Jermod McCoy, and kicked his ass. Like, legitimately did a damn good job, over 70 yards responsible against him. Like 132 yards that game versus LSU 94 and a touchdown, Ole Miss 135. It's ridiculous. Even versus Texas, a heavy zone defense, 74 yards. Like, it is surprising. So obviously I was very curious about that. I'm a little bit bewildered, but you know, every time people turn on to watch your tape, I end up hearing like so many positive things about it. And, you know, I've been a fan of yours before. So I was like seeing if I'm in the loony bin to be like, okay, is this guy actually as good as I thought he was? And you are. And that's like such a relief as well, because I mean, again, your name's not heavily popping up into the circles as much as I think they should. I mean, I know that I'm a super fan of you in this case, but you are legitimate top 10 wide receiver for me in this class. And so, I mean, prove me right. that's,
Oh,
that's where I'm getting at.
like, I don't even too much like, it's doubt. You always in life, like if you don't have doubters, like you're not doing something right. So my
Amen to
thing
that.
is, all these people, like I got a lot of people, or I've been having it since I was in high school, little league, like
Right.
a lot of doubters, and I don't even try to prove them wrong. I just try to prove myself right because I know what type of person I am outside of football. I know what type of person I am on the field. I know what I can go out there and do. So my thing is, when I'm out there, it's me versus me. Like I'm not focused on, I'm focused on, of course, the person in front of me because I have to go against them. But at the end of the day, I'm like, it's me versus me. Like, what can I do the next day to make myself better?
Yeah, I mean, again, bewildered by the fact that you didn't get invites to these bowls, but I mean, that's going to be something where I think in retrospect, people are going to regret. I mean, I'm sure there's just so many receivers in college that it's just maybe guys just aren't doing their homework. Like legitimately, when I watch your tape, I'm like, why is no one talking about you? It's like, it is very interesting. So I'm not saying that to flatter you. I'm going to be honest. I'm like straight to the point. I'm very like, I'm not a super soft type of dude. Like I like to be able to be honest about my genuine opinion, almost too honest, but
No, that's good.
yeah,
That's good.
but like, it is what it is. So you talk to me a little bit about your decision then for Arkansas. I know you went to, what was it? Texas A&M Commerce?
Yeah, Texas A&M Commerce.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Actually my girlfriend's sister-in-law is actually at Texas A&M Commerce. That's pretty hype. But, you transferred from Texas A&M Commerce.
It's East Texas now that they changed the name.
Yeah, yeah, East Texas A&M, right? Or something like that. Yeah, that's crazy. But like you originally went there. I assume that's because you grew up in a suburb of Dallas, probably like Rockwall territory, Commerce.
I live in DeSoto. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. And then you ended up transferring to Arkansas. I assume because that year you had over 1,000 yards and 13 touchdowns. You probably gained some excitement from SEC schools.
And the crazy thing about that, like that was a lot of people think I played all my 4 years there. That was my first year playing there. Like that was my first year. So if we want to like really think about it, like this last year I played was really like a junior year for me, like on the field wise. So of course my age is up. I'm kind of like 24 because I've been in college, but playing actually, getting your body beat up, like I'm got a junior year body right now. But yeah, just moving from Commerce to, I really wasn't going to leave Commerce because I'm the type of guy, like I was like, Commerce was the first person to offer me, like I'm gonna stay loyal to them. If NFL gonna find NFL talent anywhere, no matter what level of play. But of course, in the SEC and those bigger P4 conferences, you're gonna see, you're gonna get more attention, of course. But everybody would just tell me to leave. I'm like, nah, they offer me first. I'm gonna just finish it out here. But they convinced me to leave, and I just end up going to Arkansas. All their receivers had left, so I knew I was gonna have a chance to go in there and compete and earn a starting job instead of just being given one. Even though everybody left, like I didn't want to be thrown in there just, oh, you the number one receiver. Like I want to grind and show them that I'm capable of doing it.
Right. Now, I mean, I'm curious what you think your greatest strength is as a receiver, but also I'm curious about the area where you think you need to grow the most.
Well, I think my area of strength is like with me being an X receiver, a lot of runs coming that way. I feel like I block. Like I feel like when I block, because every receiver can catch a ball, every receiver can catch a run, do those things because you're a receiver. That's your job. That's what you're supposed to do. But it's the little things like blocking and having a running back run off your butt and go score a touchdown. Like if you watch my film, like every time I make a block and the running back scores off of it, like that give me more hype, like than me just catching a real good ball. Like I just like to be able to contribute to the team, even if it's away from passing or catching the ball, or getting those first downs. Like what can I do to help my teammate getting a touchdown? What can I do to help all those other things and to fix like anything I could have better myself would be like dropping my hips a little more in and out of routes. Getting that burst after the catch. I feel like I have good rack ability. But getting that acceleration, getting that burst off right after the catch, I feel like that's something I definitely not can, but will get better at.
Absolutely. I mean, looking at how I've ended up grading you over the past year, Like, I've seen you improve noticeably in a majority of categories. One area where I saw maybe a little bit of the, like, slight decline was that acceleration out of cuts, which is still great. But I was talking about you in, like, a different type of tier. So I think it's smart. I mean, if you can end up sinking your hips more, it generates that extra explosion, loads up the legs a little bit more.
Okay,
Now,
that mean I was right. I know somebody else seen it too, so I'm like, okay, I need to.
yeah,
That's one thing I feel. Like I said, like I feel like I get good separation, but I feel like I get
right,
even more separation with
right.
getting that burst out of my hips.
Right. Like, I honestly, like, I do think that your run after the catch ability as well will even improve then, because sinking your hips is not just a route running thing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the start stop ability. It's physics, right?
And it's trust. You got to trust your hips. Like that's another
Hmm.
thing. A lot of people, including myself, sometimes like I didn't kind of like trust my hips. Now that I've gotten stronger this offseason. I've ran routes now. I've
Right.
been able to trust my hips way more than I would in the past, and
Yeah.
that just contributes to the work you put in, the grind that you go through. You're not just it's not gonna happen overnight, but
Yeah.
you do it for 4, 5, 6 weeks, then it starts to become muscle memory. So.
Right, absolutely. And I think you make a great point. There's a lot of the intricacies to the wide receiver position that people don't understand. And like for me, I played 7 years, but it was actually pertaining a lot to, like, by the time I was ended up phasing out physically, I ended up transferring to wide receiver running back.
Mhm.
But like that was something that was a little bit more nuanced in my career. I have actually a lot more foundation in offensive and defensive line. I know it doesn't look like it. It is what it is.
Well,
But
you like running back and wide receiver better though.
see, the thing is
Running back,
my
you getting hit every play for sure. No, man,
yeah.
you can't run from that.
No, I mean, like, the thing is, so my experience was skewed because my running back room included Zach Charbonnet. So it's like, that was my boy right there. That was something that, like, I loved being a running back because of that reason. But I must admit, the most enjoyable experiences, practice as well as in game, were
Yeah,
actually running routes. So, I mean, like, kind of a combination of the two, like being a scat back, a receiver in the backfield, more so than just being a primary receiver. Because, I mean, I was a little bit limited in terms of the size. We had Micah Pittman on the team. It's like there was
uh,
some dudes who had a little bit more in terms
yeah.
of the physical capability, but in the running back room, I at least felt a lot more at home. But yeah, man, I mean, like being a running back, I think was a little bit more enjoyable, but still, regardless, there's so many little things that go into the preparation for being a receiver that's not necessarily seen by the public eye. What's an area that you think is not publicized enough, or an area where you don't see it at all that's a really big impact on your game and development?
Like I said, with blocking, like I said, with run
Mhm.
block, I feel like a lot of people don't notice it. Like I think I seen somebody said something. I don't be responding to them, but I be seeing a lot of stuff like on Twitter. But I seen somebody said, he probably won't block. He probably won't block well because he's a slender build. Like I'm like, bro, well, like at the
You're
end
over
of the day,
200.
blocking comes down to want to. And me, Andrew
Mhm.
Armstrong from Dallas, Texas, wants to block. Like I
Mhm.
want to be able to have a DB in front of me and I get to embarrass them, like
Yeah.
blocking, like put them on their butt or block them out of bounds. Like
Yeah.
that's one part of the game I feel like, that's gonna have a very big impact because being that X receiver, you want to be an every down wide receiver. You don't want to be a second or third or fourth down
Yeah.
wide. You want to be a first through fourth down wide receiver. So I feel
Mm.
like with blocking and with my route running and with catching the ball and getting upfield and being able to win those 50-50 balls, making those 50-50 balls
Yeah.
turn to 90-10, 100-0, like
Mhm.
things like that. I feel like it can have an extremely high impact.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you're right now listed at 6'4", 202. The people who are saying that you're too slender to block are absolute morons. I'm just gonna be honest. Like,
I'm like, man, that's just. I mean, I guess that's what y'all can. Like I said, doubt. That's just doubters. Like they just
yeah,
have. I
people
mean,
will always find a reason to complain.
yeah, they're
I
gonna.
mean,
Yeah, definitely.
like, people like to hate. It's just, it is what it is. It's unfortunate, but I mean, that's the world we live in. People, and you see on X, I mean, there's people who are crapping on players who are genuinely good. There's people hyping up players who are genuinely not. It's just, there's going to be a whole slew of things. So I can guarantee you, I probably seen some Andrew Armstrong hate out there, but I'm going to do as much as I can to kind of counteract that. But I am curious because we've seen a lot of times that these listed figures necessarily don't reflect the actual build of the receiver. And for you, it's been 6'4", 199, 202. So it looks like this is going to be more of a consistent thing. I saw somebody go from like 6'1" to 6'3" one time, and I was like, ain't nobody being fooled by that. It's like a beard on a double chinned guy. It's like, we
Yeah.
know it's down there. So for you, like, are you an actual 6'4", 6'3", and
I'm
then
about
like, are you at
about
that
I'm about 6'3" and like 3/4.
Okay, so yeah, legit 6'4" then in my opinion. Like, I would say it's a legit 6'4". I round up. I'm good
I'm
about
definitely
it.
about 6'3" and a half or
Yeah.
6'3" or 3/4. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So like just under that 6'4" mark. Are you going to be hitting that 200 figure?
Oh yeah, I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm past that. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
past that. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm
Well,
past
yeah,
that.
because I'm looking at it right now. It's 6'3", 202. I'm like, or 6'4", 202. I'm like, all right, well, it's kind of hard to complain about that build
Yeah,
when
I'm
you do
past.
have guys. I mean, I hope they keep that same energy with Travis Hunter. I'll just say that. No hate to Trav, but I mean, 6'1", 185. Like, you might as well keep that. But I am curious because I did see, like, with your blocking, I loved what you could bring to the table because I don't know what you bench, but your triceps are strong as fuck. Like, you can absolutely bench press a defensive back. I saw that. I was like, I respect that. Um, I think sometimes you get a little too carried away because you know
Yeah,
you're
like
strong, though. I know
definitely.
I see that. Like, gotta hold yourself back a little bit. But I am curious, do you have a max bench? Because your arms are like your blocking form is extremely powerful.
I think my max when I was at Arkansas might have been like 300
Okay.
max. That's the or 300 or 295, something like that. Yeah,
Really? Okay.
it's probably past that now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
past
Yeah.
that.
I was
No,
like,
it is past that now.
okay.
Actually,
So I am curious. You do talk about this desire to get a little bit lower in the pat or a little bit lower, and you've been probably training up for the combine, right? Like I
Mhm.
assume you've been getting ready for like combine drills, pro day drills, etc. And so, with that being said, what are your target markers right now for like 3 cone and like 40 dash? Because I do know that pad level does have to do like
Mhm.
when you're talking about the physics of being able to run at the highest speed and be able to change directions, that's going to be a big deal. So has that been something that you've been really working on, and what are you like looking to aim to achieve?
Well, I'm not gonna say no numbers right now, of course, but just fast.
Yeah.
I'm trying to impress
Yeah.
myself. I'm trying to impress everybody that's watching me. Everybody
Yeah.
that's don't think I can do what what I know I can do. So
Right.
just my markers are just fast. Like if you
Yeah.
had a marker, dash fast. That's all. Like
Okay. Okay. And then have you ever tested this like in high school? Did you do some testing? And then like obviously you've built upon that frame, built some technique as well. But I'm just curious off the top of my head if you had any figures that you're trying to beat from beforehand.
no, I never really just ran like a 40-yard dash or like laser or I don't even remember. This is gonna be my first official like just 40-yard
Oh,
dash.
that's gonna be exciting.
It's
That's
gonna
gonna be
be
exciting for
definitely,
sure.
and then on the stage that is on, like it's gonna be extremely exciting.
So are you in Dallas currently?
Yeah, I'm in Frisco.
Okay, so are you training at Sports Academy? Or I know that
I'm
they're
training Exos.
which one?
Exos.
Okay, gotcha. Are you training with Quincy Riley right now? I know
Yeah,
he's training out. Okay, yeah, I met his uncle Marlon on the plane, so
mhm.
that's hype. I mean, I'm sure you guys are also being able to do a lot of drills. Quincy's a great athlete
Oh,
too.
yeah. Good person.
So,
He's a good
uh,
person too.
no, that's great. That's great. Obviously, that's a great program. Something that I like to look into. That's like a super underrated thing for me because I used to train at Sports Academy,
Mhm.
but not the one here. The one in Los Angeles. Like I think it was the original. I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but regardless, like I do think that the quality of player that you're training with matters a lot because iron sharpens iron. I think that especially being at the facility that you're at, that's really good, and I
Oh,
think
yeah.
they're gonna
Like,
train y'all well. So that's hype.
everybody up here, including the coaches, like, everybody, the players, like, we all, like everybody here wanted to
Yeah.
win, like, wanted to grow and grind and get better within themselves, and there's a lot of players, including myself, learning from other players and, like, me telling the player something,
Yeah.
another player telling me something, like, we all just putting stuff together with the coach, it's especially with the coach telling us as well, just
Mhm.
putting it all together and just getting better day in, day out, like, week
Yeah.
from week, like, it's just
Yeah.
it's been a fun experience as well.
Dude, that's hype, man. I mean, I know that again, you're training with some of the best athletes, and so that's going to be great for your development. I would say now that we can't talk about numbers, what are you most proud of right now in terms of your growth, in terms of form, and what you really hope to show out the most in terms of the drills?
My body, my strength,
Yeah,
just everything that I've been working towards, like my speed, my
yeah,
change of direction. Like I
yeah,
feel like that's the most thing I didn't like got much better is my change of direction, dropping my
yeah,
hips because hey, that's my shin. Your shin angles when they low, you
Mm.
getting out. So I feel like that's the best thing. You know, if I wanted to put a thing on it, that's where I'd be like, I'm most impressed with myself.
Yeah, that's awesome. That was gonna be something I was going to ask you is like how much have you seen yourself grow even in this off-season portion? I know that these drills, as you're saying, they're brand new to you. So I'm sure that's experienced a whole entire new array of things. I'm sure the tart cherry and the TB12 recoveries have been being popped all the
Mhm.
time because you're experiencing new muscle fibers and all that other stuff that you probably haven't, even at an SEC program like Arkansas. But I'm curious for you. So are you just a big Dallas Cowboy fan from being a kid? Like they're in a need of a receiver, man. I'm just saying.
I love all teams, but
Yes, you do. Okay, before
I
you
grew
had to do business.
before I
Before you
had
had
to
to
before I had to be I grew up my dad is from Kansas City. So I grew up a Kansas City Chiefs fan. I was there. I was watching
Oh.
Jamal Charles, Alex Smith,
Mhm.
and then I see Jamal Charles go to the Broncos, hurt my heart.
Mm.
But yeah, I've been a Chiefs fan my whole
Okay. Okay.
I
Yep.
don't I don't have no
Until
problem.
business.
Hey, I
Until
don't have no problem with the
until
Cowboys.
business.
I lived there. I've been to the stadium. You know,
Yeah.
we played there against A&M. Like
Mhm.
I don't have no problem with no teams, but you know, I was a Chiefs fan.
I'm gonna have to change one of my dream fits so I can end up putting the Chiefs on there. They're in need of some extra wide receiver help, man. They're on some short contracts right now, so you never know. They might be calling your name on draft day. That's gonna be super exciting.
Oh yeah,
Now,
I,
for yeah,
that right there, my dad probably,
yeah, he'd
my
be
dad,
excited,
my
wouldn't
dad
he?
probably pass out.
That'd be crazy. That would be crazy. I mean, being able to have a Chiefs jersey on your dad with your own name on it without it being like a custom jersey, that just sounds so awesome. I know that, I'm sure that he's a big motivator for you. But speaking of that, what does give you that motivation? I know there's obviously some intrinsic motivation. You have to if you want to block, for Christ's sakes, as a wide
Oh yeah,
receiver. But like, what are the external motivators for you outside of yourself?
it's just like that chip on my shoulder that I've always had since I was younger. Like I said, with all the doubters and not even without the doubters, you know, I always had a purpose in my life
Mhm.
to make it to the NFL. Like that's been my dream. That's been my goal since I've been able to say the word football. Like I always wanted to just get there and
Mhm.
excel there while I'm there as well. So yeah, I always have a like that's my purpose. Like I feel like that was my purpose. That's why I was brought into this world. That was my purpose, like to make it to the league and
Right.
be an impact in the league and be an impact to people outside the league. Like just being a great person and just
Mm.
it's just all that you know builds up and just it's in my head as you know this is what you're here for. Like don't
Yeah.
let nobody stop you. Don't let
Yeah.
nothing nobody say. Like no matter where you go, no matter what round it is, no matter what, when you get there, excel and do the things that you always knew you could do. And
Yeah.
that's my purpose. And that's just what keeps me going and what keeps me driving.
Yeah, absolutely. That's wonderful. Now, I mentioned earlier in the show that you've gone up against a lot of really talented corners, especially even this year. But let's not even add into the fact that last year as well, you also had 764 yards and 5 touchdowns. So you've been cooking for the past couple of years. Out of all the cornerbacks you faced, which one do you think was the most dominant in general? And which one did you find the most frustrating that maybe people don't know enough about?
Trey Amos.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that guy's a fucking baller.
bruh.
Yeah, that guy's a
He,
baller.
he nice. I ain't gonna lie. He nice.
Yeah.
I'm the type of person like
Yeah.
I don't even like giving people credit, but
Yeah.
he pretty nice. He pretty
Yeah,
nice.
no, he was an absolute
I can
savage.
tell I can tell he watches film.
Mm,
He watches
okay.
film. Like
I'm gonna
and
have to boost him up a little bit.
if he don't watch film, then I don't know. But
Yeah.
he definitely watched film.
Yeah,
Like
he
a lot.
kinda knew he was able to, like, proactively be able
Yeah,
to cover you a little bit.
yeah.
I love that, I love that. I got to see that in Mobile as well, I was down there, so, I mean, Trey Amos has been a first round quality guy for me since, like, he got his full evaluation, so it's great to hear at least from your end, especially given where you are on my board, to be able to understand that, there is going to be some justification for that. Now for maybe I know we don't like giving people credit, but
Mhm.
like the more underrated side, like Trey Amos, I do think is picking up a lot of that like late day one, early day two hype. Who do you think was one of those corners? Maybe it was one of your buddies who went against him, but deserves a bit more credit and a bit more love than maybe they do.
At corner?
Yeah. Or safety. I mean, hell, if you ended up playing a dominant safety that just doesn't get any love, by all means.
Mhm.
I know you can't plug in Quincy Riley right now. I'm looking at it. I'm going to fact check you on this one. I love Q though. Q's great.
I can't say him because he's first round too.
Quincy's a baller, especially when healthy, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I heard some like round 2 from Marlon, his uncle. It's just like I don't know if he goes in that range, but he should. Like he's just a really good player. He's been playing injured too, so it's like
I'm trying to think.
I'm trying to stall for you. If you don't realize, that's why I'm trying to toss some shit in here. Like I mean, you've gone up against a lot of the best of the best.
Yeah.
So it is a massive amount of people that you have to, cycle through. But if you don't have somebody that's a little bit more on the underrated side, by all means, stick it to them.
Oh no.
All right, Andrew Armstrong says every other corner sucks ass.
No, I didn't say that.
Quote that and just change it to his voice. So
maybe I'm not saying they're underrated. Maybe I'm saying they're good. They're rated.
No, that's not how it's going to be taken. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, obviously, it's the fact that you came up with Trey Amos so quickly, looking at the corners you went against. I mean, that is out of the corners this year. That's my top graded corner. And so it makes sense as well. And it's thanks for the ego boost. A little bit self-justifying to see that. So that's great. That's great. Well, obviously, we're closing in on the end. I'm curious because I have some Dallasites here as well as myself. I live up in Farmers Branch, like right across the Galleria. So, I'm in the area. What is your favorite part of Dallas and maybe the most underrated restaurant in the area?
Ooh, my favorite part of Dallas, of course, is my family and friends that's here. But, places downtown, like downtown, you get the views of the city and just like driving through downtown at night.
Yeah.
That'd be
yeah. Dude, I remember my first experience here, just like it was like January 2020. So of course I came here like literally the worst time possible, right as COVID was hitting. But it's just like being able to see Bank of America building lit up green in the middle of the night. It's like, what?
In the mall? Like
oh yeah. No, are you a Katy Trail lover?
Katy Trail, no.
Really? Man, it's a good spot, man. Like that's just
Katy Trail is.
You don't know. Come on. It goes like it literally goes from White Rock Lake all the way down through downtown. So
I ain't never. Is that the underpass? Like at the underpass?
I mean, I'm sure that there is one, but like when you go to Bank of America Stadium, like like there's just like a trail beyond that. It just goes for like 15 miles. But whenever I have somebody who's gonna just chat my ear off, or else I actually have to tell somebody about some draft prospects, I just go on there, man. But hey,
I've never been.
Well, I mean, as you can see me, I need some sun. So that's how I am able to do some multitasking, if you can't tell. But no, this is great. I appreciate it. Obviously, any underrated restaurants, because I'm still learning. I don't look like it, but
you've been a Perry's? Perry's barbecue?
Perry's? I've heard about Perry's. Okay.
Go to Perry's.
Okay. Yeah, I got Cadillac down the street, and then obviously Terry Black's is like the place, but I'll have to add Perry's to the list. I feel like I've heard of it.
Was it Perry's or was it Terry Black's?
Terry Black's is in downtown. I don't know if that's what you're talking about.
It's Perry's. Why did I say Perry's?
Is Perry's a steakhouse? I feel like that's a steakhouse. I know they have like a good pork chop. I swear to God.
Terry Black is the barbecue, right? You go in.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm talking about Terry Black then. I don't know where I just got Perry's. I don't know where I just got Perry's from.
Dude, I'm pretty sure Perry's is a steakhouse that's in downtown too. So
Perry's.
Yeah.
Where did Perry's from?
Oh yeah, Perry's is a steakhouse in downtown.
Yeah. Perry's.
Yeah. Perry's is legit, man. They have like a pork chop like Wednesday or Friday or something like that. It's like that was insane.
And if you want to go out, take your girl out or something, just want to chill, go to Capitol Grill.
Oh, okay. That's a good rec. Have you ever been to Drake's?
I wanted to go to Drake's.
I'm just saying, you need an excuse. I'm game, but let's talk about that after the show. Feel free to give people one more pitch because we're running the time up here.
I just want to say, all my Dallas lovers, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. And if you're not from Dallas, I love you too. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all supporting me. If y'all support me, if not, I still, I have no problem with you. Hey, I'm a human being. Y'all human beings. Y'all have y'all feelings. I have my, everybody has their bang bang going on. So that's a crazy word. I just made it up out of nowhere.
I'm like, what the fuck is that?
I just made it up out of nowhere. But man, I just want to say I appreciate y'all. I love y'all, man. Appreciate you for bringing me on the show.
Of course. Later.